Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. If you're watching from Calgary, it is still a happy Tuesday, although the weather might not be our BFF today. But this is spring. This is what we get. We get the mixed bag. On Sunday, 19 degrees. Today, not so 19 degrees. But you know, the plants are going to be fine. The gardens are going to be fine. You know, that's what I've been saying it on Global and CTV and everywhere else. It is still too early to plant. Don't let one nice day fool you. We need consistent good weather. So although it seems kind of, you know, on a day like today where everything, it feels more like a winter day, early winter, the leaves are getting ready to come out. And yesterday we discussed what a plant was in its whole. We spoke about roots and stems and leaves, and we're going to go into each one of those parts of a plant, the three primary parts. Obviously, there's a lot more, but we're not getting into all of that. This isn't, you know, botany. It's not a GA botany TV. So we're going to go, you know, into the broad strokes. So today is leaf, and if you can see, I clearly did not write this or draw this. This was done by Brandy. I was in a meeting and I was running late, and Brandy set up, and she set a bar so high I can never attain this.
I felt like we need a little bit of inspiration today.
You nailed it. You inspired me to just not even try and hit this level. Anybody who follows along knows that my art and writing is never going to get here. So without further ado, let's move on. So everybody can identify a leaf. We might not know the tree that it's from. We might not know an oak leaf, a pothos leaf, citronella tomato, but we know what a leaf looks like. And everybody, the vast majority of Canadians are going to recognize one leaf, and that'll be the maple leaf. So basically, the leaf is a bunch of leaves together. It's called the foliage, and that's the part of the plant. So if we do that, you know, the traditional tree drawing, all of those, that's the foliage, and it's made up of all of the individual leaves. So in there, we have the leaf, and then on the leaf, and I'm drawing very, very, very basic standard, not Brandy's level. Brandy would be doing some shading. She'd probably draw a little bug. maybe a kangaroo. But what is a leaf? Okay, so the leaf is part of what you call the shoot system of a plant. And the shoot system is the leaf, the stem, and then eventually the flower and the fruit, everything that happens from the new shoots coming off of a plant. It's called the shoot system. Really not much more to it than that. It's all of the new growth, the new shoots, and the leaf is very much an instrumental part of that. A lot of times you see new growth come out the middle of your tomato and the leaf opens up. You see the stem get taller and then a leaf opens. Now, the two main purposes of a leaf, we talked on this one yesterday. We kind of talked on both of them. The first one is the photosynthesis. Without that, the plant isn't living. And the photosynthesis is very tied in with the second main purpose of the leaf, and that's respiration. So plants actually breathe. And it's one of those concepts that, because, you know, when we think of things that breathe, we think of other mammals. We think of us and kangaroos and whatnot, penguins even though it's not a mammal. That was my trick question. Were you paying attention? Bazinga. Even fish, they breathe, but they have a very, very different breathing apparatus. But we can see it. You can see bubbles come out of a fish. You can see, you know, a mammal or a bird, the chest expands and whatnot. So we can identify that. But this plant here is breathing. Right now, it is breathing. It is taking my carbon dioxide and it is pushing back out oxygen. My waste is the CO2. Its waste is the O2. Fantastic relationship. How did we luck out on that one, eh? Yay, plant. And the respiration is part of what goes on. So what the plant needs, and we talked about this yesterday, is we have our sunshine here. Can't have a sun without a top hat. And the light hits the leaf. On the other side of that as well is it's bringing in the carbon dioxide, and that's hitting the leaf there, the same as that. And then it brings up the water through the roots. So we got our roots down here, and the water's coming up through the stem into the leaf. And that's all happening in there. And then in the cellular part, if you guys remember yesterday, I mentioned the chloroplast. This is where all of this is happening. This is where it explodes. It is the engine of the plant, much like our belly is our engine, where everything turns to fuel and energy. That's what's happening in the chloroplast in every single cell there. And it gives that explosion. And what it pushes out is oxygen for us. Wow, could it? Oxygen. It's pushing out oxygen, and that's the waste product. And then it sends the sugar back down to the roots, okay? And that's photosynthesis, but it's also the respiration. And the respiration happens through stomata. And you will not see them. It doesn't matter which one of these plants, even the cactus, which is just one big leaf. It doesn't matter which one I hold up. Put it right into the camera. You're not going to see the stomata. And the stomata, or stomato, no, nobody calls it that. Oh my God, I got a tomato too. You say tomato, I say stomato. I can hold this up to the camera. I can get my eyeball right into it. We're not going to see them. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them all across the leaf. And all they are doing all the time is they're breathing. They're giving a gas exchange. So plants undergo a gas exchange. We'll talk about this one when we get to roots, but there's even a gas exchange in the soil, which is one reason you don't want a compact soil. You want it loose. You want that soil and the aggregates broken for the gas exchange. But the primary gas exchange that we need to know about, that we're talking about today for the oxygen and the CO2, happens right there. So those are the two primary functions. That's all the plant cares about. Plant doesn't care about this leaf being a pretty marble color. The plant doesn't care that this smells citrusy, okay? It makes not a, like, it doesn't care that this is just one big leaf. These are designed like this for other reasons, for the plant to survive. Some of them we've hybridized because we like the aesthetic. But some of them are to repel bugs, to attract bugs, to protect in a harsh environment. And that's all part of the aesthetic. And that's what we get from the leaves. We enjoy them. We go, oh, I love this. It's nice and vertical. And I like the yellows and the greens and the doppel pattern. Or I love the marble and I love the trailing effect. And I love the way that they come up. That's purely on us. We find beauty in that, and rightfully so. I mean, that's the whole point of, or one of the points of gardening, not the whole point, but one of the points of gardening is to enjoy it, is to get that aesthetic. To have the big tree that explodes in reds and oranges in the autumn, or we're sitting here at this time of year, watching those pussy willows, watching those buds, getting them tight, and then you see them, bam, and then we've got leaves. That's where we come in for the aesthetic. But for the plant, that is what it's doing for the plant. That's all the plant cares about. But there's also some secondary purposes to the leaf. So what we'll do here, come on, I don't want to waste paper. Okay, so our primary purpose is photosynthesis. Wow, I thought that word would be shorter. Big lettering. I started with this much margin. Again, Brandy's writing at the beginning. It's a bar I'm never achieving. It's photosynthesis, and oh, we're gonna need new markers. Respiration. Okay, so those are the two primary ones, and they are different. They happen together, but they're different, much like us breathing and digesting at the same time, kind of the same idea. But those two are key. Now, two other features of leaves, and again, these two go hand in hand as well. And one of them is for us. It's not an aesthetic, but it's a warning sign, and it's transpiration. Okay, I'm going to leave myself lots of room here. Transpiration. Okay, and that's how the plant gets rid of extra water. So we're always busy, as you guys can hear, always something happening. Gotta love an active greenhouse. And transpiration is very simply how the plant gets rid of extra moisture, almost like sweating, okay? But on that as well, when we have that, and it's very minor, the leaf doesn't uptake a lot of water, but when the water gets sent up from the roots, when it's processed it and it pushes it up, whatever it doesn't need for its photosynthesis, it pushes out. Specialized plants, cacti, succulents, they've learned how to store that water because they're not sure when they're going to get it again. But the thinner leaf plants, this tomato, that, oh, too much water, don't need it, and it pushes it out through the leaf. Now, what can happen here is drought sign. Okay, so again, we all know what a healthy leaf looks like, okay? And I'll draw my standard leaf, bonk, bonk, bonk. Okay, happy leaf. Now, what ends up happening, it gets water. The water comes up, but it doesn't have enough water. There's no more water coming up from the roots. So now it's exhausted its water through the process of photosynthesis. And it's exhausted its water because of transpiration. It's a blazing hot day, very thin leaf. That leaf is fully exposed. So again, unlike the cactus, which is big, and it's fat, and it's sassy, and it's juicy, and it's got a thick outer shell to protect it, this leaf is very thin. Now the sun is hitting that. Your tomato needs to be in full sun. The sun is hitting that, and it's pulling moisture out, and it's evaporating the moisture. So what the leaf does is it droops. Okay, and now our leaf doesn't look as happy. And then the other thing it might do is it might start curling. I've never drawn a curly leaf if that wasn't abundantly obvious.
Can you move little tomato guy?
Oh, little tomato guy, get out of here.
Yeah, there's a droopy.
There we go. And that is telling us that the plant is losing more water than it's taking in. And what do we do? Well, in nature, we hope that the plant has enough energy and enough storage, and it can withstand the drought. When it rains, it'll lift back up. In our gardens, we get out there with our sprinkler and our hose gun. We feed the roots uptake the water, and what that does is then it lifts the leaf. The cell wall gets replenished, it strengthens it, it gives it rigidity. We talked about the cellular structure yesterday. It allows the photosynthesis to continue, because when the leaf does this, it's not allowing photosynthesis. It's curling up its surface area, so it can't get as much food because it doesn't have the water. Much like us, if we're dehydrated, we don't have the energy to go for a jog. I don't jog anyway, which is why I messed the word up. But when this is getting dehydrated, it doesn't have the energy to make any more food because it can't grow anymore. It doesn't have the building block of life, water. So that's it. That's leaves in a nutshell. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the stem. Boring part of the plant? Don't think so. Nope. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm, enjoy, and we'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye, everyone.